Hi everyone, Charles from The Food People here. I hope that you're all keeping safe and well. Back here today for the 7th episode in our 12-part series looking at the longer-term shifts in food and drink in the COVID era through the lens of our annual trends framework. In this episode, we look at Deeper Flavour that sits as part of the wider social trend, the pleasure principle, a movement that is centred around food and drink as a source of pleasure and escapism. In these turbulent times, it's more important to find respite, fun, and experience where we can in this COVID era. Everything from snacking, cooking, and meal times are taking on a greater meaning. And more than ever before, we're seeking solace in food and meal times. We eat not only to survive, but to enjoy. And with the pace of life slowed down, at least for some, that means taking the time to truly savour the flavours, textures, and smells of what's on our plates. Familiar flavours and comforting formats rule the roost, setting aside bells and whistles cooking at least for now. But that doesn't mean that there isn't innovation and experimentation aplenty. Home cooking has become a national pastime, and food is an obsession, thus creativity abound. Let's start with desserts mean business. As we're faced with uncertain times, we're all turning to one thing for that small bit of comfort, and that is desserts and sweet cooking. Between the 23rd of March and the 30th of April, the most popular recipes searched on a popular recipe website, you guessed it, banana bread. Actually, 13 of the top 20 search recipes were sweet. Cakes, biscuits, or desserts. It seems that we're looking decidedly backward to the old school favourites and family comforts, whilst indulging our sweet tooth as a means of escapism. Think bread and butter pudding, carrot cake, sheet cake, trifle eaten mess, rice pudding, as well as fusion twists on the classics like Dalgona tiramisu. Bells and whistles are out, simple, soothing, and most of all, flavourful are in. Sweet, comforting, indulgent ingredients like caramel, treacle, chocolate, and toffee are firm favourites. However, as the summer sets in, we should expect the dense cakes and gooey puddings to be replaced by lighter desserts, the pavlovas, lemon tarts, burnt cheesecake, and ice cream sundaes, still comforting and with the indulgent factor to go with it. If you think familiarity and comfort as a key driver mean that innovation is out, then think again. With so many home cooks increasing their skills on a day-to-day basis, and home cooking and baking becomes ever more popular, there's plenty of experimentation and twists on classic dishes being revolutionised. There's also still so much room for growth in plant-based desserts as the popularity of egg and flour-free baking continues to rise. We're also seeing a rise in all-day desserts. Desserts not restricted to a specific day part. Cakes for daytime snacking, after dinner, after workout, mini sweet treats, all trending as desserts go cross-day part. We mustn't forget that baking is for everyone, particularly in the COVID era, but not everybody's a master baker. So therefore, easy and no-bake desserts are rising in popularity. Things like tray bakes, banana bread and fridge cakes, also gaining momentum, dessert boxes and kits, aka recipe boxes that are delivered to your door and come with all the ingredients pre-prepared. Then we've got tasty aging. We're in an era where food and drink is having to step up in the role that it plays in delivering our highs, our fixes, and our memorable experiences. So cue tasty aging. We're all used to hearing the older, the better the flavour when it comes to the likes of wine and whiskey, but we're progressively understanding that this also applies to all manner of food and drink. For instance, dry-aged meats are praised for their intense umami-laden flavour, and of course nothing ups the ante more than dry-aged beef patty in a cheeseburger. As we learn more and more about aging foods, we see that it's not all about the intense, ultra-funky meats that have been aged for weeks or even months and years, but sometimes just a few days of aging can make all of the difference. For example, a piece of sea bass or a grouper that's air-dried for, say, a week will absolutely pack a huge flavour punch compared to when it's fresh from the water. Aging is being incorporated into all manner of unexpected and exciting places as consumers get more comfortable with the idea that age equals flavour. As an example, pork belly braised in aged vinegar. Chocolate is made with aged cacao, vegetables even left in the ground for up to a year to develop flavour. Sourdough being paired with aged butter. You've even seen steaks in a butter basting, so the butter acts as a barrier whilst the meat matures inside. And with consumers increasingly looking for little touches of luxury and flavour to hit their dinner plates, perhaps aging across all food is worth a consideration. Then we've got flavoured fat. There's no denying that homemade bread is really having something of a moment. Social media has been inundated with pictures of homemade sourdough and focaccia art. So it's no surprise that bread's natural partner, oil, butter, mayonnaise are also building on their already surging popularity. On their own, these fats and of course many others enhance depth and flavour to a dish, so adding a little something extra, such as fermenting, aging, or unexpected ingredients, takes these fats to a whole new level. We're talking flavour on flavour here, just think aged beef dripping, cultured butter, or turmeric spice ghee. Consumers are gradually realizing that fats can actually be amazing flavor vehicles and are opening their minds to the possibility that butters, mayos, and oils can be a cook's best friend. They should be sourced and treated in the same way as other staple ingredients like meat and vegetables. Craft, artisanal, organic butters, mayos, and oils therefore abound, and cooks are getting ever more creative with how they're used. There's boundless opportunity in flavored fats, from flavored butter for cooking, think seaweed or oyster for fish, maple or mint for desserts, or masala for Indian cookery. Mayos offer a huge opportunity to make the everyday memorable, from nori to hot sauce or nduja to wild garlic. Then we move on to florals. Can't seem to get enough of all things floral and botanical, especially as the weather warms and gardens bloom. This year in particular, we feel an even stronger affinity to summer gardens and fresh flowers, as after all, during such unsettling periods, they have brought us so much pleasure and joy. Floral notes and flowers are everywhere, and it's certainly not just a flavour addition. We're seeing edible flowers draped over summer dishes, like salmon carpaccio or salad, garden scenes being created on focaccia loaves, and tables being adorned with fresh flowers. Campaigns such as Make a Meal of It, which is spearheaded by food influencer Laura Jackson, are encouraging people to turn their everyday meals into a celebration by tablescaping. And yes, you probably guessed it, floral bouquets are a